Imali smo ekskluzivnu priliku da nam generalni direktor Chateau Gru La Rose u prvoj poseti Beogradu u hotelu Radisson Collection Hotel Old Mill Belgrade otkrije neke tajne jedne od najboljih vinarija Bordeaux.
Bonjour, merci.
It is a great challenge to work for the winery that is more than 300 years old.
If it is a challenge, yeah, but it's at the same time it's a challenge, and it's also very easy because it's a long history, it's a great terroir, so it is a challenge because you've got history, but it's also quite easy.
How is it possible to be easy?
Because you're just a small part of history, so it's easy because you've got all the history, you've got all the knowledge that is already in the estate, so you're just part of it.
History is working for you.
Yes.
Four families were making excellent wines and the winery is still making excellent wines. How is it possible?
I would say that there is different things. First one is the terroir, the soil. We have a wonderful exposition and the soil is exceptional. Also, it is because of the people working there. Most of them are there for 20, 30 years and they're working generation after generation. So that's the main thing.
Synergy between tradition and modern technology is the key of making good wines. Would you agree with that?
Yes, exactly. We are taking the best of both parts, history and the new technology. But I would say that history is even more important than technology, because the knowledge, the feeling that you have about the wine when you have to harvest and everything, to me it's much more important than the technology. It's a simple things to do wines, but the feeling about it is much more important.
Biodynamic is important to you. How do you apply it?
It is biodynamic or organic or in general to take care of the environment, okay, to make sure that the next generation will be able to produce wine again and again and again.
That is what I wanted to ask you. You're using organic farming techniques.
Yes.
Which one do you use and how do you use them?
We use biodynamic, let's say about on 60 hectares out of 80. And starting this year, we're going to switch the entire estate into organic. But it takes 3 years to get the approval.
So the whole winery is going to be
organic.
Organic.
Yes.
And that is possible.
It is, but you have to be extremely careful, and it takes more knowledge, of course, and also more people, so it's a bit more costly. But there is other chateaux in Bordeaux that are organic and that are doing well, so it is possible.
Is it important to understand the environment? That is your attitude and you act accordingly?
Yes, to respect it, to make sure that we have been producing wine for 300 years, and our job is to make sure that over the next 300 years, we're going to be able to produce good wines.
Why Cabernet Sauvignon?
Because of the soil and the climate. We have very deep gravel soil, meaning those white stones that are coming from the Pyrenees. It's a mountain next to our place, and that's a very dry soil, quite hot, so the Cabernet Sauvignon fits perfectly well.
Terroir plays an important role. How?
By the soil, meaning that it is hot, the rain goes through quite easily, and that's the main thing. That's the main thing.
Chateau Grand La Rose had some great vintages. What affects the great vintage?
It's not in our hand. What we can do is some difficult vintage, because of technology, because of knowledge. From a difficult vintage, you can do a good vintage, but the great one, it's not in your hand. That's something else. It's because of the climate, you have to be extremely lucky to get great vintages. It's not because of you.
It's not
because
just a chance. It's not just...
It is. That's because all everything perfectly fits at one point. The sun, the temperature, the wind, everything, and then when everything is in line, then you've got a great vintage, an exceptional vintage. But that's not because of you, it's just because of the outside part.
What are the innovations in the viticulture and what are yours?
I think honestly there is not a lot of innovation. The main innovation is to understand again the terroir, the soil, and to understand that the vineyard, it's not only a vineyard, but it's inside of something bigger, like the whole environment around you, the people, the moon and everything. People used to know that in France like 100 years ago, but this knowledge has been lost because of the World War, because of the chemical industry and everything. And I think the main innovation is to get this knowledge back.
Vineyard is exactly the same as it was years ago. Is that the advantage?
It's not an advantage in terms of quality, because there is other terroir with great terroir, but it's an advantage in terms of style. Because over the last 200 years, we've made that there is a same style years after years, and that's what is important to me.
How do you choose people who will work on all stages?
Some of them, my gardener, he took the job after his father. Most of the people, it's a family thing. So we know the people when they are young. We see them grow, so we know that they are good people. So it's and they know the estate. Otherwise, we take young people when they are at school, and they do training period, and we select the best one. That's the way it works.
Expertise and know-how. Two big words with enormous influence and strength. What do you think about that?
I think they are linked. They are linked. The expertise comes when you have the know-how. So they are extremely linked, and they are extremely strong when it comes to wine.
One of the best vintage was in 1945, significant year. Like Grad Laros was celebrating the end of the World War II. Which were your great vintages?
I do like 1989, 2010 also. The 82 also is a great vintage, and I think that 2016 will be also a very good vintage. But it's also linked with your own history. If you're born in a specific year, sometimes wine is also about feeling and about the link you've got. So sometimes a vintage that is not necessarily a huge vintage, it is very personal to you, and then you can find it good.
You have the ability to produce excellent Bordeaux wine, stylish and powerful. Is it true?
Yes. Yes. That's because we, once again, we have a great terroir. The yield are quite low, and we don't try to extract too much from the wine. We extract what it can give us, but not too much. So then it can also give wine that can age for a very long time.
Who drinks your wines?
People, I would say, that love classical wines. People that love, I hope, food as well, because we do wines not as an aperitif. All wines are made to be drinking during the meal. So people who love food, I think, and we have to be honest, also people who has enough money, because our wines are quite expensive, unfortunately.
Why would someone decide to visit Château?
Yes, we do. You can visit Grue La Rose. There is a whole organization, and I think it's also a good way to understand the wine, the history, and how we do wine and why we do it this way. It's a great experience.
Essence instead of form. Would it be your philosophy?
We are selling a product that you're gonna eat, that will goes into your body. So it's not a shoes, or you get it into your body. So the way we make it and the essence of it is very strong. It's gonna mix with you. So yes, you're right.
Is there anything else that I didn't ask and that you wanted to share with us?
No, I think it's the most important is to taste the wine. That's the main thing, and we are doing, I wouldn't say an easy job, but it's you have to be extremely humble when it comes to the wine, because most of the things you can't control them. So you have to admit that you don't know, and that's the main thing. Family is one thing, simplicity but excellence. Everything you do, you have to do it the best way possible. Whatever it takes in terms of time or money, that's what we're looking for.
You will take your impressions back home to France. Hopefully, you will be back again in Belgrade.
I hope so.